ルイーズさん、今日は SAK ユニバーシティのキャンパスにお越しいただきありがとうございます。ぜひ今回ルイーズさんご自身のことであったり、SAK の TNE パートナーシップのこと、いろいろお話を聞かせていただければと思います。よろしくお願いします。
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here at SAK University in Tokyo. As you rightly said, my name is Louise Blair. I am the Director of Partnerships for Education and Research at the University of Essex.
まずルイーズさんのこれまでのご経歴を教えていただけますでしょうか。
Yes, of course. So I have always been very interested in the international. From the very beginning, I studied international relations at the University of St Andrews, where I got my Master of Arts in International Relations. Then I had the opportunity to study in the United States on a scholarship program called the Bobby Jones Scholarship, where I studied at Emory in Atlanta. I also interned in the US at the Presidential Library, the Carter Center in Atlanta. Then I had the opportunity to study in Paris on a scholarship. I studied at the Institute of Language and Culture at the French Catholic University of Paris, where I immersed myself in French language and then left France speaking French. I then came back to the UK to study a Masters in Economic Development at the University of Glasgow. I then started my career in international policy and programme development as an intern at the Parliamentary Network in the World Bank and IMF in Paris, an international organisation working to influence policy from international parliamentarians. Then I had the opportunity to work in Brussels for Scotland Europa, which is an organisation that works for all Scottish companies and memberships, companies and higher education institutions to support and lobby for the ambitions of Scottish enterprises within the European Union and Commission. After working in Brussels, I came back to the United Kingdom and knew that I wanted to work in higher education, a field that I love and I'm very passionate about. It's also an area of work where diplomacy runs very strong because education brings countries together very well, and I really knew that working in international relations before. So I took the opportunity to come back to the UK, worked as an international officer at a university in Scotland, and then begun my career working in higher education. I've now worked in international higher education for over 10 years, developing international partnerships and recruiting international students, everything from transfer partnerships to research, to education and to mobility and exchange, and now very proudly working in transnational education opportunities, and in particular in opportunities that develop and support access to education around the world.
今回ルイーズさんと初めてお会いする機会となります。これまで来日をされたウェンディさんであったりマーティン教授からも、SAK ユニバーシティのことは耳に入っているかなと思うんですが、ルイーズさんご自身から見て SAK であったり SAK とのTNA パートナーシップ、どういった印象をお持ちでしょうか。
Yes, I think that the partnership is very innovative. It seems to be really truly one of a kind and one of the first of its kind in Japan. I understand that TNE is relatively new to Japan and the Japanese market, and I think what SAK is doing is really interesting, opening up access, offering something very flexible, engaging with industry, all things that we share at the University of Essex. I think that SAK embodies the same background and approach as the University of Essex, which is to engage with industry and understand industry needs, understand the job market, understand what skills are needed for students when they graduate, and to offer them flexible pathways in a very dynamic world that we're living in. And I think that's something that is very attractive about SAK. Another thing that I think is particularly dynamic and positive about SAK is because of its background in training and consultancy. It's got a connection to industry and potential placement opportunities for its students. And I think developing content for those needs and also offering opportunities for graduates So there's a connection there from the beginning all through to the end. That's common practice for SAK and a really positive in our partnership.
これまでルイーズさんは本当にたくさんの国とのさまざまな TNE パートナーシップに関わってこられたと思うんですけれども、 TNE パートナーシップの難しい点だったり、またTNE パートナーシップに対してルイーズさん自身が求めていることっていうのはどういったことになりますか？
Yes, I think there are a number of challenges that can be overcome, but there are cultural differences and there are also operational challenges working internationally. For example, we are 8 hours difference in time. That is a challenge for us to find suitable times to have meetings together, and often can be difficult when we need quick answers and responses from each other. Another practical challenge that we face often with other institutions delivering education overseas is that the academic calendar does not often align. You know, we start our year at different times, we finish at different times, and therefore it can be a challenge to know what point in the cycle is best to share information on or practice exams. So we have to find a way to come together with those timetables. And with any international business and financial collaboration, there are challenges around taxation and regulatory environment, both for the finances but also for education. A very important thing, of course, for all graduates is that they want and they need the recognition of their qualification. So it's really important that we support partners in ensuring that the requirements are met for those students, not only when they're studying, but also that their qualifications are recognised when they graduate as well. There are also practical challenges in language, communications, and in terms of understanding and cultural differences around learning and teaching. For example, it's often the case that in certain countries outside of the United Kingdom, the expectation of original thinking might be different when expressing yourself in examinations, as opposed to in the UK where they're looking for critical thinking in a different way. And I would like to say that even though there are many challenges and that we have to overcome working internationally, there are also many opportunities, and the opportunities truly outweigh the challenges. And I think there are also tools that we can use to overcome those challenges. Regular communication, openness if we are facing challenges, if we are struggling with something, that we share it together as partners. I also think it's critical that partners are both benefiting from the relationship, and that's very clear from the beginning in order for it to succeed truly. So there are many ways to overcome those challenges too.
今回エセックス大学と SAK との TNE パートナーシップを締結するまでに本当に数年にわたる年月がかかりました。今回に限らずエセックス大学はパートナーに対して厳格でハイレベルな審査を行われているように感じましたが、そのあたりいかがでしょうか？
Yes, absolutely, I would agree. We take it very seriously when we are overseeing a partnership. Quality of delivery, quality of teaching, quality of the student experience are absolutely integral to the offer that the University of Essex has. We are very proud in the United Kingdom of having a prestigious profile for education, and we embody that at the University of Essex. We consider and look at a number of areas before we approve a partnership. We look at the quality of academic delivery, we look at academic CVs, we look at the financial situation of the institution to ensure that it's in a strong position. We look at the regulatory environment and the acceptance of the profile of the institution. We look at the facilities, we consider what the institution is able to offer its students, and we look at their own policies. And all of these factors come together in an application form that is considered by several committees at the University of Essex, both academic committees and strategic committees, all the way up to the most senior staff at Essex and our external council members reviewing a partnership. So we look at it very holistically, and it matters very much to us who we partner with at the University of Essex. For us at the University of Essex, it was very important that SAK met those standards and was able to demonstrate to us that they were able to deliver the quality education and support that students need in Japan, and indeed SAK were able to do that.
そういったクオリティの部分を重視しながら TNE パートナーを選んでこられた、審査をしてこられたエセックス大学が今回 SAK を TNE パートナーに選ばれたポイントはズバリ何だったんでしょうか？
I think there were several aspects of the potential partnership that were very attractive to the University of Essex. For us, Japan is a new and dynamic market. It's a new country to be partnering in, and we were approached by an innovative institution looking to expand their offer and provide more flexibility for working professionals and young students also in Japan. So I think all of those things combined contributed to our decision. Also, we know that Japan is an incredibly, has an incredibly rich tradition and culture in terms of technology as well and innovation, but also a history of being at the forefront of design. And it's an exciting place for us to also engage. I think SAK's connection to industry and to connection to modernity and the changing world also made it a very attractive prospect for us to partner with in Japan.
学生からエセックス大学へ留学をして勉強したいという声も多く聞かれています。留学を考えている方へエセックス大学で勉強する魅力を教えてください。
Of course, yes. So the University of Essex is very proud of its international campus and its international student population. We have 45% of our entire student population comes from outside of the United Kingdom, so you'd be joining a very international group. You would also be joining a group of students who are very passionate about supporting the local community. We are #1 in the UK for student volunteers, which means we have more student volunteers than any other university in the United Kingdom. We also are #1 in the UK for knowledge transfer partnerships. Two areas that really demonstrate how much our students and staff contribute to local businesses, local NGOs and local initiatives. In addition to that, you would be coming to our very beautiful and green campus located just outside the city of Colchester, England's oldest city, about an hour away from London in the south east of England in the UK's sunniest county of Essex.
海外に出て勉強するっていうのは本当に大きなチャレンジだと思ってます。ので留学に対する不安が大きくてなかなか一歩を踏み出せないという学生もいるんではないかなと思われます。エセックス大学は留学生のサポートも手厚いと伺ってますが、どういったサポートをされてるんでしょうか？
Yes, of course. I myself was an international student in 2 countries, so I know how important it is to do your research and planning before you go, but also how challenging and intimidating it can be, especially when you're going to a country with a different language. At the University of Essex, we support international students in a number of ways. We have a health centre on campus, so students can register with a doctor on campus. We also have on-campus accommodation for students, so it's easy for them to come and be, to find a home and a safe home with the University of Essex. We also have a number of services that are available to international students, including mental health and well-being services such as counselling if students are facing, for example, culture shock, or there are any bereavements or academic challenges. But we also have academic support and library services as well to support students to engage with the information and resources that are available to them. It's very important for international students. I should also say that it's not always possible for students to have the opportunity to study overseas, but there are other opportunities to engage in international education. So students at SAK, for example, will have the opportunity to engage with academics at the University of Essex, but also potentially students and collaborative work together. And I think that's really important to note. You know, international education doesn't just start with studying overseas. It starts in the way that we deliver internationalised curriculums in the classroom, and that's what we're able to do through our partnership with SAK.
今回の TNE パートナーシップによって SAK ユニバーシティでエセックス大学レベルの学びが得られることは日本の学生にとっても本当に貴重な機会になっていきます。そんなこれから SAK ユニバーシティに入学される学生の方へ何かメッセージをいただけますか？
Yes, of course. My message to the students would be, well, certainly do your research. You know, do your research to make the right decision for you. At SAK University, the staff have been incredibly warm and welcoming to me, and I know that they would be able to support any questions that you have about your study, so please don't be afraid to ask about that. And also look at the work that SAK has done, its training, its development, its partnerships and relationships with industry. I think that's all really important for the experience that you will have at SAK. I would also say enjoy the time that you're a student. It's precious time when you're studying, and there are few opportunities to have such engagement with a multitude of people in your peer group to learn in your life. Truly take those opportunities, embrace them, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.